welcome to today's video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I thought it would be fun to sit down and do a full face of new drugstore products and do a full face of drugstore makeup. I have lots of products that I've had for a couple of months that I haven't had a chance to use. Some products are actually new releases within the last month, 2 months from some of the really popular drugstore brands. Some are going to be plugged in that are already existing in my collection that I have used and loved before. Mostly going to be like the brow products. I'm going to plug in the mascara that I'm still using. That is drugstore that I've had open for about a month and a half now. So we're just going to play with products. Majority, I would say 90% of it is going to be brand new, first time use on camera. So if that sounds good, let's get our makeup goodies out. Let's do our makeup together and let's get started. For primers, I took out both of these from e.l.f. out of my drawer. I've used this before and I think I may use this one. This is the Power Grip with the niacinamide. I love niacinamide as an ingredient in my skincare. So this was a no-brainer for me when I saw that this was an option for e.l.f. I do have the original Power Grip as well. And then this one is fairly new as well to me. This has been out for a while. This is the Liquid Poreless Putty. I did use this in my previous drugstore video, so I think I'm going to go in with this primer. This is the Power Grip primer with 4% niacinamide. And the reason why I'm choosing this is because I haven't used it in a while, and also because I'm going to be using the new Revlon Illuminance Serum Skin Tint. I'm not sure what's the best primer to go underneath this, what this is going to give me as far as coverage, the finish, I don't know. I try to not look at any sort of reviews. I just chose a shade that I thought could match me, which by the way is the shade 117. And I don't know if that's fair, if that's a light color, but it's shade number 117. So that's the foundation for the day. But let's start with the Power Grip. And this is a sticky primer. Comes out clear, even though it looks kind of pink in the tube. It goes on clear, and it does leave that kind of real sticky, kind of tacky, glue-like finish to the skin, which is great because then everything just sort of locks into that and it wears better throughout the day with foundations. Next up is going to be this skin tint from Revlon. This is the Illuminance Skin Tint with broad spectrum SPF 15, and it's got ginger root, vitamin C, and vitamin E. And I have the shade 117, and it's a skincare infused makeup with light to buildable coverage with a soft satin finish. Generally, serum tints or skin tints tend to be more dewy, more radiant looking, but for this to say satin finish, I'm kind of curious, and I have not used a Revlon base complexion product in a long time. I like the squeeze too. Really nice packaging, kind of like an upgrade to the brand. And I also like how it has a seal, so that's great. I have not taken the seal off, so you can see this is the first time go with you on camera, so my reaction will be legit, like authentic and real as I apply this. I have my damp beauty sponge ready to go, and also the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation brush, which is actually a really great brush. I'm trying to use some more affordable brushes throughout this video as well, and I've been testing this one out for a couple of months now, and I do like it. So I'm going to use this to start, and maybe the sponge. We'll see how this goes. I don't know which tool is best, but let's get started with the serum tint. So I think what I want to do is take the serum and just go straight onto my brush and then apply it that way. I hope, for the sake of this video, that I match myself really well because I don't know what it is. Please tell me if you have the same problem. Maybe it's just me. I can't seem to get my match correct when it comes to drugstore foundations. I don't know what happens, but it's always just wrong. Just completely off. Not just like a hair off, a little bit of a wrong undertone. It's way off. Like, I don't know why I do this to myself. I'll do half of my face first so you can see a difference. And this has been out for a little while, and I know I'm kind of late to it, but I bought this, I think last month, December, end of November. I ordered it from Ulta's website, which I did order also the new one from CoverGirl that's finally back in stock. It's been selling out so fast. It sold out of my cart, and so hopefully I order the right shade in that too. And it is already sort of gathering around the nose and it's settling into my pores, so I do not like that. And I think the color is doable. There's not a huge difference between my face and my neck, which is great, but it is gathering right around my nose. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. It probably will because it's 4K. So do you see how it's just gathering right there and not blending very well? It could be also the primer. So I'm going to try to work this into the skin and correct this as best as I can. And then just push it further into the skin with my sponge and see if I can soften the look of it settling into my pores. So now I know that this will definitely need to be used with a pore diffusing primer underneath. So that's the beauty of these videos. You kind of figure things out as you go. So I'm going to continue doing this and do the other side of my face. And then we'll be moving on to the next step. Okay, so I am back. I tried to work some of this into the skin and try to make it work. It's not looking very good. I tried to remove what I had around the nose and reapply it with the brush. Then I went over it with the sponge, and it's just not wanting to look very good. It's fine through the forehead. It's not that bad, but it's really accentuating dryness on my chin. And it is sitting in all of my pores. And it actually does make my skin look terrible. Like, it makes my skin look not so great, okay? It's making me feel like I need to just do a huge skincare, self-care routine tonight and just like scrape off all this dead skin that I didn't even know I had. I know it's kind of dry because of the heat. We're in single digits, even negative temperatures, so the heat is going on a lot in the house. So I will have to try this again a different day with a different primer because it could be the primer. Now for concealer, I've got two. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Concealer. And this is in the shade fair to, or light to medium. And that looks quite light for light to medium. And then I also have this one, if I can hold it the right way. This is from Revlon. This is the Color Stay Skin Awaken Caffeine Plus Vitamin C 5-in-1 Concealer. I have the shade 003 Cool Ivory, which I don't even think this is going to be the right color. Erase, perfect, brighten, hydrate, and refresh. Those are the claims. I'm already intrigued. I've tried the butter formula in the corrector versions of this, so we'll do that in another video, but this has me intrigued, and you know what? We're doing Revlon Illuminance, might as well do Revlon concealer, right? So this one, it has a little spongy kind of puff tip that you have to squeeze out, dot a little bit. Oh, this is too light. This is, wow, 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 wow. Okay, so Ivory Cool, not it. Okay, so I'm gonna use, let's just use my beauty sponge to blend this in and see how well this works. Okay, so actually, it's doable. We can make this work. Okay. It's doable. But I will say that blended in beautifully and it looks great under the eyes. Thankfully, I didn't take the Illuminance Skin Tint up underneath the eye because I feel like that would have changed how I felt about this. Even though it's not the right shade, this is blending in really, really nice. Okay, Revlon. A shade up would have been perfect, but I do like this. This is much more of a positive first impression than the previous product. So we're gonna do the other eye. I'm gonna set the under eye with the Diamond Blur powder. This is a skincare powder from Physicians Formula. I've used this a couple times already, and it's the only drugstore setting powder that I have that's fairly new. This recently came out at the beginning of the year, and I did a video all on the new 2024 products from Physicians Formula, and this was one of my favorites from that video, and I've used it quite a bit since then. So I'm going to use this translucent powder to set the under eye area and maybe a little bit through where the pores are to see if it helps kind of blur that look because it's just not looking very good. And I like to use my beauty sponge to set my under eye area with any sort of powder that I use. This is my preferred method. And I really did like this powder. It did set and kind of blur the skin, and it didn't look too heavy. It didn't feel heavy or look powdery, so it's a good one. I actually do really enjoy the way this looks. And it's looking really nice over the concealer from Revlon, so that's also another bonus. Now I feel like I've got a good concealer and setting powder routine from the drugstore. And whatever's left, I'm gonna just go through the forehead. I'm not sure if this skin tint, I keep wanting to say skin tint, but serum tint is gonna get dewy as the day progresses with the formula or the SPF that's in it. So I want to kind of ensure that it's gonna stay a little bit better. Up next is bronzer. CoverGirl came out with a new loose bronzer. This is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Radiant Loose Powder Bronzer, shade 001 Sun-Kissed. And it's one of those caps that you have to push down or lift up, which I don't really like that. And this could potentially be quite messy, but I'm going to peel the seal off with my tweezers and we're gonna just see how this looks on the skin. And just as I suspected, it does make a mess. When you pull that final little piece of the seal off, it's like a big old puff of mess, right? So it's in there. I'm not even gonna, no. We're gonna just dump it into the cap as I would with like a setting powder that's loose like this, and I'm gonna just work from the cap because that is a mess. And the first brush I picked up was an Equal Tools brush. So this is old. I've had it for a few years. I'm gonna just kind of swirl, pick it up, and then just start warming up my complexion and just seeing how this is going to make my face look. It does look kind of pale right now, but this is going to definitely help us out. And so far that looks nice. It doesn't look bad at all. Go over the nose. So I picked up this pencil when I went to Target recently to do groceries. As I was heading towards the register, I decided to stop and check out to see if there was anything new. But I noticed that Revlon had the Color Stay Micro Brow Pencil, and this has probably been out for a very long time. I picked up the shade Dark Brown, and I feel like this is too dark, okay? This is, it scares me, okay? It really does. I normally use my Benefit pencil and the Lift and Snatch. So this product from NYX is one of my go-tos. I wear it every day. This is the Lift and Snatch Tinted Brow Pen in the brunette shade, and it is perfect for filling in little sparse areas, giving a hair-like effect where I don't have hair. I do have bald spots. Hair does not grow in certain areas, and I use this all the time for that. So I'm going to start first with the pencil. I like how it's got a very small, fine tip, a very thin spoolie on the end. Go very, very lightly. It's depositing quite a bit of color immediately, so that's good. And I'm going to just sort of speed through this because I have a feeling this is going to go very wrong. So we're just going to tread softly. I'm going to speed through this because I will be here for a while. I will be back in like, I don't know, 5 hours from now. It takes me so long to do my brows, you guys. That's why I never really do the full routine on camera because it's too much. All right, so I am back with the brows done, complete, set, and they're dark, okay? They're really, really dark. And it might be fine with the lighting. It looks like my hair is really dark. I have red tones in it. My natural color is coming through, which is a dark brown. I just feel like it's just too intense. I'm used to more medium tone browns, but we're moving on past that because there's nothing I can do about that. I did set them with the Brazilian Lift Brow Gel from Physicians Formula, which I still am testing out. It has some good hold, so that's a good thing, but it does have a pretty intense fragrance to it, so it smells a little weird. Anyways, I did the Milani eyeshadow primer. I've talked about how I don't really care for this as much because it is very greasy and oily. Every time I squeeze a tube, it's just a bunch of oil that comes out, so I have to squeeze a lot of product before I get to the actual primer that isn't separating. So I have a mess on my desk here with the oil, and I'm not happy about that, but this is the only drugstore primer that I have in my collection. So I did that off camera after doing my brows so that it has time to set. Because of that oiliness, I do feel like it does feel a little too creamy, a little too moist for my liking. But, you know, we're here, we're testing it out, and that's just my honest opinion. I think the best thing that I can do for myself is maybe use a little bit of some powder over that before I do my eyeshadow. So, speaking of eyeshadows, I have a few different things that I wanted to try. I may not get a chance to use it all today, but the first thing is one of the Kelsey Ballerini liquid shadows from CoverGirl. This is in the shade number 2. I forgot the name of it, but it does remind me right off the bat from packaging from the Stila one, so that may be what they're trying to dupe. But this is like a pretty rose gold, and I'm a huge country music fan, so when I saw that she was coming out with a collaboration with them, and she was the face of the brand, I thought, yes, I'm going to pick up one of those. But then I also have had these for the longest time, let me tell you, the Colourpop eyeshadow palettes, okay? The 1111. I bought this palette when this one, the Cloud 9, launched. I want to say this was October, but look how cool this packaging is on this palette. Let me show you. It's got like an iridescent kind of look to it. Isn't that cool? Here's what they look like. So you have some cool tones, some sparkly shades, some like deeper tones, like one at the bottom that looks a little purpley. Isn't that pretty? So this is the 1111 palette. Really nice packaging. And then here are the colors. This is definitely more me. And then on the back, it does show you the names as well. I have not tried Colourpop shadows in a couple of years. The last one was the collab that they did with Kathleen Lights, and I don't remember what year that was, but I do remember giving it to my daughter for her to experience eyeshadows for the very first time. That was back in 2021. She destroyed that palette, by the way, and it was so fun, but she loved it, and that was the last time that I put Colourpop shadows on my eyes. I have not revisited the formula in a while. I haven't revisited the Super Shock shadows either, so I thought it would be fun to kind of just play around with some of these today and see where the look goes. I don't have any plans for a specific shade. I hope that this eye look, though, really lifts my spirits because the complexion is just not my thing today. It's not looking very great. It's looking real bad. Real bad. Thanks, Revlon. So I think I'm going to start with the shade called Good Thoughts, which is kind of like a warm, light, transitioning type of shade. And I'm going to use my BK Beauty 212 brush, and I'm going to just pick up some of that. I love the embossing on these, and that's such a nice light shade. It's a little bit warm, but I'm going to use this in my crease to create like a base sort of transition-y type of shade. Okay, so that's applying really nicely and blending. So far, so good. Do you know what? Let's just keep on with this brush. This is the 212 from BK Beauty. And I think I want to take the shade called Protection, which is a really pretty kind of rosy shade, kind of like a dusty rose. That looks really nice. Add some of this right into the crease and kind of blend it into that first shade, which is the Good Thoughts. Okay, so that is looking quite nice and very pigmented, and it's blending out really good. So I'm really thrilled so far with those two colors. I'm going to take those same two shades and apply them right to my lower lash line with a Sephora Pro 15 brush. I think I want to try the same brush, the Sephora Pro 15, with the shade called Right Path. And it's one of the bottom shades, and it is kind of like a rosy, warm tan shade. It's really pretty. And then you have this one here that's a little bit cooler. It's called Empowered, and that's like a really nice espresso brown. And then a sparkly shade called Divine, which looks to be like it could possibly be like a black and brown type shade with a bit of sparkle. But I think I'm going to use some of this shade here, that rosy brown shade, for the outer corner. I feel like it'll play nicely with that Protection shade that I just put in my crease. I'm keeping things super simple today, and I'm using those same brushes. This is the 212 again. No extra product, and I'm just softening the edge of that darker shade and pulling it a little bit up towards my crease to blend it into that kind of rosy shade that I applied earlier. I'm going to take that same brush, same color, Right Path, and I'm going to use that on the lower lash line, just on the outer half. Back in with that first brush, the crease brush, and I'm going to blend everything together. So I have some options in the 1111 palette for the lid color, and I always go for like either a nice bronze or this one that's like a pinky champagne color. It looks absolutely stunning. This has a nice pretty gold too, but I think what I want to do is something a little different and fun. So I'm going to hop over to the Cloud 9 palette, and I'm going to pick up this shade called Make Do. This one is like a duochrome. There's a little bit of pink and a little bit of like a blue shift to it. So it's really nice, and I think it might play well because of the pinky undertones that I'm picking up. At least that's what I see. But these are really kind of cool tones. I could have done this shade up here as well. This one is called Pure Bliss. And this one is very blinding, like icy white almost. No, not almost. It is. It is a blinding icy white shade. So here's this one that's right next door. It's too icy and too cool, but I'm going to go in with this one here, which I think will be nice. This one's called Make Do. Whoa, that's actually icier looking than I thought. It's okay. It's going to be okay. So here's what it looks like with that icy kind of blue. So this eye looks a little bit more pink. I think it's just the way the light hits it. And then this is picking up a little bit more of that kind of blue shift. What I'm going to do actually is let's just take the shade called Balance, which is that pink champagne from the 1111 palette. And I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to swirl my finger and just pick up some of that product. And that is such a pretty color. So I think I'm going to just go right over the top just to kind of add a little bit more pink and kind of tone down that blue. I wasn't expecting it to be as blue looking when I put it on my lids. I thought it just had a subtle kind of shift to it looking at it in the pan, but it's more blue than I thought. And I'm just intensifying just a little bit more this outer part of my lid here with the same brush that I used earlier. I'm just patting and kind of building just slightly that deeper shade because I don't want to lose the intensity of that with the shimmer from the lid shade. I'm going to use my NYX Epic Ink liquid liner to do a very thin line, and then I'm going to use my Telescopic Lift Mascara from L'Oreal to finish the eye look for today. For blush, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Liquid Camo Blush. This is the shade called Pinky Promise. I used the other shade that's more mauve-y, the Suave Mauve, in my previous drugstore video, and I said that I would use this in the next drugstore tutorial. So here we are. And I'm going to use, this one is a little bit hard to open. Like it's a little tricky. This is the Camo Liquid Blush. They just recently came out with some of these. And I'm going to use this bright pink one. I'm going to work right off of the lid from my bronzer. And this formula is quite pigmented from my last experience. The mauve shade really kind of, she was bold. And I'm just gonna lightly tap because these are very, very pigmented. So know that going into it. If you buy any of these, they do have a lot of pigmentation to them, but they blend out really nicely and they look really pretty on the skin. And I can already tell you that that tiny little bit is just too much. And I'm going to tap this out with whatever was remaining from my concealer. It'll help with blending and softening those edges and toning that down. Do you see the difference? This looks a little intense in my opinion. And this one just looks a little bit softer. Just a little bit more blended and perfected. So I'm going to just continue working this into the skin. So highlighter, I have the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Pressed Powder. This is supposed to be like a translucent glow powder, but it actually has a radiance, almost kind of like a soft highlight. So that's what I like to do with this, is use it as a highlighter. This is a really pretty sort of marbled and swirled type of product. Do you see that? Really, really pretty. So I'm going to use some of this. And it smells like summer. Yes. Oh, it smells so good. Love it. And I'm going to use a Real Techniques brush. This is actually a 242 brush, brightening concealer, but it actually makes the best brush for these types of soft, light, glowy powders. So I'm going to use that to just kind of pat this and really bring in some glow. I have a couple new lip products. I did pick up one of the new cream lip liners from e.l.f. These are like $2 and I am really curious about how good this form is going to be. And I picked, of course, a pink shade, and it is the color, if I can read, Pinky Swear. They write it on the lid, you guys. You need a magnifying glass to see that, okay? Too small. I did also pick up their lip oil in the shade Rose Envy. That looks really pretty. And I have some of these like Tarte dupes from NYX, the Fat Oil Slick Clicks. I got the main character, which is the clear with the sparkle, and this one that's called No Filter Needed. So we may use these or we may use the oil. I'm not quite sure, but I do know I'm going to start off with the lip liner, and I'm going to line my lips and see how this works for $2. I'm very curious. She's very creamy and pigmented. Okay. Okay, I see what you're trying to do here, e.l.f. $2. Did I say $2? You guys, this color is beautiful. It's so pretty that I went ahead and just lined and filled my entire lip because this is a perfect shade for every day for me. It went on so creamy. It actually feels very high-end and luxurious. It's $2. I'll say it again, $2, okay? This by far is a huge win for me today because I'm not liking the complexion today, and this is making me feel a bit happier and a little better about the way my face is looking right now. This liner is everything. And we might as well go in with the Fat Oil Slick Clicks from NYX. I'm going to use the main character, which is the clear with the sparkle. It has like a kind of pinky purpley iridescence. It looks really pretty. And I thought, why not go ahead and try this? Since I want to maintain this shade, I thought a clear gloss would be the ideal route because this might actually interfere with the way this looks. And this color is just, I love it. I love this color, yes. And the lip oil, maybe we'll put a little bit on afterwards. I don't know, we'll see, but I'm going in for this. And you gotta click it just like you do the Tarte ones. You click at the bottom, product comes out, and you just kind of glide it on, and it's supposed to be glossy, comforting, and I hope it feels like the Tarte ones because the Tarte versions are some of my absolute favorite lip products. It takes a couple clicks, you guys. Going in. Ooh, I like the sparkle. Do you see? It reminds me, it looks disgusting now because of my lip product, but it has a bit of sheen like the new shimmer glass ones from Tarte that I recently talked about. And they came out with a few different shades, Tarte. And so this is kind of similar to that, where it's like a very soft hint of sheen on the lips. Real pretty. And so here it is with the clear. So here's what I'll say. I think that this formula is not quite as buttery and smooth feeling on the lips like the Tarte ones. I think the Tarte ones feel a little bit thicker and a little bit more cushiony, and I personally prefer the formula of the Tarte. I also feel like I can feel a little bit of the sheen and shimmer because there's a look of kind of like a grittiness that I feel. It's not terrible, but I don't really like that, and it has to be the sparkle that's in this actual product. And here is the completed look, you guys. So overall, I feel like everything looks decent. Let's recap. Eyeshadows, great. I will use them some more and sort of do more looks with them in the future and try some of the other colors from both of the palettes. The actual concealer was a surprise, so I'm going to use that again. I feel the shade was light, but it's doable. The powder that I used to set it from Physicians Formula, I've been using that and I do like that. Blush is great too. The lip liner was probably the most exciting product for me in this video. That $2 lip liner was incredible, and I just wish I would have ordered more shades. That color is perfection. Now for the actual click stick, whatever this is called, the Slick Click. Okay, these names. From NYX, I don't like how I can feel the sparkle grittiness in it, so I hope that the other shade is not like that. The actual complexion product, the Serum Tint from Revlon, I will have to use it again with a different primer because I am not liking the way this looks. It's accentuating and kind of clinging on to dryness around the nose. The chin looks terrible. Like the complexion is just no, okay? And I do think that it's this product. Maybe with the primer from e.l.f., that Power Grip is probably not the right choice. So I think I'm going to try it again tomorrow with maybe a pore diffusing primer or maybe no primer and see what that looks like. So it's going to be one of those that it's a trial and error kind of thing for me. I like the color. I think I did a pretty decent match this time around for that product and for it being a drugstore complexion product. The finish is really pretty. It's a nice satin finish, not overly matte and not overly dewy. So I do like that. I can get on with that finish. It's just the way it's sitting on the skin. It's just not looking very good. The bronzer, I have to use it again. I do feel like it's quite warm and pretty dark, but besides it being in a messy sort of packaging like this, it's not bad for being a drugstore bronzer. And, you know, again, I'll have to keep playing with it. And of course, we'll do more of these videos later on down the road as well, because I do love trying new products, and to be able to find some really great products at an affordable price is even better. So be on the lookout for more drugstore related videos. Also share with me your favorites from the drugstore. Everything will be listed for you, by the way, in case you want to buy any of these products. They will be listed and linked for you. Thanks so much for being here, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And you can also follow me on Instagram. We can be friends there. It's here on the screen. I look forward to seeing you there. I hope you're doing well. Take care, and I will catch you very, very soon. Bye-bye.